blockbuster fixture that took place this Sunday as the epic clash between Liverpool and Manchester City took place at the Etihad, and Liverpool made history. Remember, Liverpool had not won at the Etihad since 2015, and Arne is looking like the manager who's breaking all Liverpool curses with a 2-0 victory over Manchester City and solidifying their position top of the Premier League. Looking at the Premier League, you can see that Liverpool at the summit, capitalizing upon Arsenal dropping points, who are their closest competitors, and Liverpool looking to maintain that gap and ensure that they finish up the title race and put it under wraps as soon as possible. So what tactics did both managers use? That is going to be what we are going to talk about in this video today. And before we even start our analysis, do not forget that if you are watching this channel for the first time, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. We start with Manchester City. So Manchester City, Pep Guardiola had some interesting tactics that he wanted to put in play in this game in particular, as he understood the threat that Liverpool come up with. Now, this was a fixture where Guardiola did not come in as a favorite, considering that all the previous seasons where he has faced Liverpool, he has been the favorite. This season, he came in as an underdog and the expected result happened. Now, Guardiola had some interesting tactics by lining up his Manchester City side in a 4-1-4-1 system with only one solo pivot. So he will drop his centre-backs deeper and spread his full-backs wide when he tried to build up. And Liverpool in particular are pressing Manchester City in a quite interesting way. Liverpool were operating a high block, but a high block that is well organized. Manchester City wanted to create the pitch as wide as possible by spreading their wingers and making them hug the touchline while having that numerical superiority in midfield. And playing Phil Foden as a false nine was also something that Guardiola usually wanted to create a problem for Liverpool with. So Liverpool used their narrow front four that they have created a lot of problems for this season. This narrow front four, coupled with the two pivot who are sitting deeper and closer to the centre backs, allowing Liverpool to be so concrete in midfield that nobody can actually penetrate to them. This created problems for Manchester City, as Manchester City usually like to build through the middle, and because Liverpool were looking to employ a mid-aggressive block with having 4 players ready to step out and press, we saw some interesting tactical maneuvers that Guardiola created. One situation is where he swapped the roles of Rico Lewis and De Bruyne, with Rico Lewis joining the midfield and De Bruyne stepping out to receive the ball directly from the centre-backs, as he wanted to use De Bruyne's passing range to try and pick players like Savinho and Doku who are making runs in behind. De Bruyne in this position was looking to try and step out and receive the ball in this kind of zone because the middle part he was clogged up as he was being marked by both McAllister and Gravenberch, and this was a problem especially because of the way De Bruyne likes to play, which is to receive the ball and look to try to pass the ball and create chances for his team. Now, in this kind of scenario, what happened is that now De Bruyne, one of the most dangerous players for Manchester City, would get that time and space on the ball and look to try and effect the game from this position. And this is something that De Bruyne really capitalized on, because when he looked to pick this ball from this position, one thing that De Bruyne wanted to do is to try and play those balls over the top, especially looking to try and pick runners who are making runs behind Liverpool's aggressive highlight. But Liverpool was so aggressive with him, with Gravenberch looking to shift across to try and cover him from this position, looking to momentarily stop De Bruyne from having that opportunity to create problems for Liverpool. But Liverpool's system also helped them, because if they won the ball now, they would be attacking Manchester City's back two with a lot of ease. Phil Foden dropping deep from that false nine position was also something that was giving Liverpool problems, because the position of Foden was dragging Virgil van Dijk in particular out of his lines. And this was something that Liverpool did not want in this game, because dragging Virgil van Dijk out of position will leave a gaping hole in defense. Now, one thing that Manchester City failed to do was to exploit this scenario. Savinho in particular was the one who was supposed to be making that diagonal run from out to in to occupy that space, but he didn't, and Manchester City did not capitalize on that. But Liverpool did, and Liverpool did it effectively. Now, when Manchester City had the ball, they moved into that diamond kind of midfield. And this was attributed with the position of De Bruyne in the team, sometimes looking to occupy the wide areas, sometimes looking to occupy the right half space that he usually likes to occupy. Now, this would give Manchester City that 3-5, but the lack of a number 9 also contributed to Manchester City's troubles. Manchester City were trying to overload Liverpool's midfield, with even Phil Foden dropping deeper and De Bruyne looking to pick up positions in between the lines that will allow him to have space. And when Manchester City got the ball, sometimes they wanted to play the ball to the wide area so that they can have Doku 1v1 against Trent Alexander-Arnold. But Doku's finishing, especially towards the final third, was not quite the best, and this costed Manchester City some opportunities. Now, the right-hand side gave a lot of promise for Manchester City, especially when they looked to try and create that overload, with De Bruyne looking to take up some very interesting positions. Sometimes Savinho will look to occupy the half space and De Bruyne will move out wide, as De Bruyne wanted to receive the ball in a wide area where he could whip in those low crosses that he likes to whip in and have that space to actually look to create something. But Liverpool were also quite interesting in the way they defended. Liverpool would sometimes defend in a 4-4 structure, with their front line coming in so narrow and denying even those spaces in midfield for Manchester City to play through, and forcing Manchester City to just play around them rather than play through them. But Liverpool even sometimes went aggressively, with McAllister dropping into the backline, trying to even out numbers when Manchester City had the ball, because they understood the overload that Manchester City had created will create a lot of problems for them, and therefore they will not be able to try and capitalize on what Manchester City were doing. Now, what about Liverpool and Arne Slot in particular? Arne Slot stuck to his principles, and in this game he was more pragmatic. He never wanted to try and play out from the back or dominate the ball or anything. He just understood that if he used his pressing intelligently, he would get the best out of Manchester City, and that is what he did. Now, when Liverpool had the ball, Liverpool will just look to play usually with their 4-4, this structure that they have created a lot of problems for against other teams. Manchester City looking to play in that 4-1-4-1, using their two midfielders to cover Liverpool's pivots and using Phil Foden to try and press and stop the ball, especially getting to Virgil van Dijk. Now, in this kind of structure, Liverpool looked to create overloads by dropping both Jones and Szoboszlai in midfield as twin number 9s. Now, they will drop so deep in positions where Diaz and the other centre-back would not pick them. And Konate in particular and Virgil will look to play those line-breaking passes to them. And once they will receive the ball, because of the height that Sallah and Luis Diaz were occupying, Manchester City's backline could not push so high because they would be caught with balls over the top. But that is what actually happened, because now Liverpool's wingers had that space and they will now look to get that ball and look to make runs in behind, and that's how Sallah and Luis Diaz created problems. And this box midfield overload, together with that aggressive outnumbering Manchester City with their build-up, meant that Liverpool could constantly cause Manchester City problems, and Sallah in particular would be looking to exploit that space, especially if a centre-back will be dropping deep to try and cover Szoboszlai and look to make those runs. And this created a lot of dilemma for Manchester City on how they would look to try and press Liverpool, because Liverpool always had that threat of going and playing balls in behind, looking to capitalize on Manchester City's aggressive high line. Because of this, Liverpool, even when they had possession, they were quite interesting, especially in the final third, as Liverpool were trying to also generate that 5-man attack. And how they generated it was by Sallah coming in and Trent coming overlapping Sallah. Now, this significant tactical battle was so interesting because despite Guardiola's tactical innovations, Arne Slot was able to come up with a system and dynamism that was able to stop Pep and actually put Pep in a position where he would not actually have answers. And Liverpool's ability to capitalize on their chances made them win the game. What do you think? Leave your comments in the comment section area below, and thanks for watching.